stage 2. Stop! Did you watch stage 1? You need to watch stage 1. If you did, let's go to stage 2. If you didn't, go back and watch stage 1. But here's a stage 1 recap. In stage 1, we looked at 3 concepts. We looked at gathering ideas, riffs, songs, titles and melodies, and the best way to capture them anywhere, where you're in the high street, whether you're on the bus, whether you're in the car or at home. It's all about capturing them so that when you sit down to be creative, you can look them up and start with something. We also looked at the subject and choosing a subject that you would write about, and the idea for that was simply to look at news stories, looking at a band that you love and the subjects that they've written about, and then using things like Google News to see what was most relevant on that day and picking something and running with it. And the last part of stage 1 was the working title. We agreed that we would take 5 minutes of what your subject would be, and then we would take that 5 minutes of writing down absolutely everything, no matter how good or how bad it sounded. And at the end of 5 minutes, you should have a page that you can pick a working title. Now, the working title is that. It can change when the song's finished, but it gives you something to simply work with.
Let's move to stage 2, and then you'll know just what to do.
That's my jingle! The first part of stage 2 is selecting a key. List out all the chords in the key that you've chosen and have them beside you. Now, when picking a key for your song, I like to look at the characteristics and the emotions of the scale. Composer John Matheson planned out in his writings in 1713. Rita Stablin translated it in her book, A History of Key Characteristics, in the 18th and early 19th century. Now, this may be seen as an ancient kind of classical thing to do, but I really believe it has its premise in today's music. For example, if you were writing a song that was happy and simplistic, had some kind of naivety to it, I would tend to lean towards C major. It's full of imagination, it has a powerful resolve, and it can feel maybe a little bit religious, but it's very clean. However, if you're looking for something a little bit more triumphant and victorious with war cries and screaming, rejoicing, then I would tend to lean more towards D major. Now, I don't have time to run through all of these today, but I'm going to put a link in the bottom where you can look at some of the web pages that I've used and researched in the past. I just think it's a good idea to select a key. Please remember that you can change this at any time. This is just to get those creative juices flowing, making a decision and running with it. Okay, so the next section is called the structure. This is where we're going to just make a decision on what your song is going to look like, what the sections is going to look like. The most common one, it would probably be intro, verse, chorus, bridge, solo, chorus, end. What to do is look at your favourite bands and write down the structures of what their songs look like, and then compare them, and then just simply pick one and run with it. The big secret here of getting those creative juices flowing, we've said this a few times in this video, but get the creative juices flowing by simply picking it. Once you have finished all these stage 4s, we can go back and review and change everything. Remember, what we're looking at is tools. These are not rules. Okay, here comes the juicy bit. This is where we're going to work on
content.
For this section, we're going to go to Google. We're going to type in our working title, hit enter, and then we're going to hit images. And then when we get to the images section, we're going to set a 10-minute timer. And within that 10 minutes, we're going to fill the page with describing exactly what we see. But what's really important is we take into consideration
the 6 keys of connection.
The 6 keys of connection involve taste, sight, touch, sound, smell and movement. So the whole idea is within that 10 minutes is to keep these headings in mind and use them to describe exactly what you're seeing. Now this is a section where you're going to have a whole page written out of ideas, possible lines, it could be absolutely anything. But what I would encourage is to write sentences. For example, if you see a picture of a cow, then you're going to write, "It was a sunny day where the cow was standing in the field." Now that isn't the best line at all, but you just need to fill the page. The whole idea is fill till that timer goes off. For stage 2, we've looked at choosing a key and listing out all the chords in that chosen key and having them beside you, and that key would represent the mood of the song. We've also looked at selecting a structure and mapping out each section and exactly what you want to say. For example, intro, verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, end. And for our third section, we've looked at creating content. We've set a 10-minute timer and we're simply writing down everything we see, taking into account the 6 keys of connection. I hope you've enjoyed yourself today for stage 2, you stage 2 gurus. Join me next week for
Stage 3.